Hello, chat. Welcome in. Welcome in. I will be there very shortly. Just give me a couple minutes. Hello, chat. Good morning. Such a beautiful day. Doing some reacts today. And then after a couple videos, switch to games. And then, yeah. Alright, let's get straight into it. Police body cam video. Neighbor from hell versus police sniper. Alright. W fucking video. Alright, let's go.
On May 9th, 2025, San Francisco Dispatch
Damn, this is recent. Holy shit.
received a startling 911 call of a man armed with a gun. At the time of the call, the caller was with her 4-year-old child.
San Francisco 911, what's the exact location of the emergency?
Hi, I'm in my backyard, and there is a neighbor with a gun yelling at our kids to be quiet. If you guys come through my backyard, you'll see where he is.
Let me get the officers going. Bear with me, okay?
Yeah, get to the front of the house.
No, but can you imagine, like, how scared you would be, like, as a parent? Like, that'd actually be, like, insane. Like, your kids are outside playing, and then you hear them screaming to you that your neighbor is holding a gun to their, or just pointing a gun at them. That's insane.
I don't want you near the gun.
Was it a handgun, long, big gun? What type of
It's a
gun?
handgun. It's a handgun. He's just telling our kids who are playing in their own backyard to shut the fuck up, and he has a gun and he's wheeling it around.
Goodness.
All of our kids are, like, under 4 playing right here.
Four.
Hey, do you want to go contact on that side? And then I'll make contact here. We'll isolate him.
Go get in the car.
And then we'll go from there.
Holding his gun right now. Sit in the truck.
Okay, and all the doors are open for the backyard, still good?
Yeah, I'll walk you real quick.
Okay.
I actually just go open this door because this door, my dogs are in there.
Okay, that's okay. But he's directly behind.
So like I'll show you right now, right? So like it's that house, right?
With all the trees?
Yeah, with all the trees. So,
Right down here.
So look, right there he is right there. See right there, looking for green. You see him?
Okay, he's looking over.
He's looking over there right now. I don't know what he's doing over there.
He's right there. He's got the gun.
Yeah, he's still got the gun. You see him? You can see the gun. He's dead.
Ida, 13 David, code 33. We need to isolate him in the
Gun in
house.
his right hand.
Okay, wait in your car.
Yeah, where's the other dog? No, leave the dogs in the room. Leave the dogs in the room. She got the power. You got the power.
He's looking on the south side of the fence line. He looks like by himself, and I don't think he's made aware of our presence yet.
Hey, does he live there? Do you guys know him?
So yeah, he lives there. Here, I'll show you again.
So he's looking over, so I don't know what the... Alright, dispatch, this is gonna be a white male, 3540. He's got green shirts, corduroy pants.
What is going through the guy's head that brings out his, like, I think he said, like, Glock? Like, what goes through a guy's head that he brings out his Glock and tries to, like, scare a bunch of 4-year-olds into shutting up or being quiet? Like, what is going through your head there? Like, I just don't understand that.
He is looking over the fence line. I don't think he's made aware of our presence, but we might need to have someone go contact the residents to let him know, just to shelter in place or to get him out of there. Him on Dragon, do you see him on your side?
We're right.
Negative, we're gonna go in control 66.
Right there.
Copy. The resident of that house, just get him out of there. Just have him chill in the car. Okay, so I don't know if someone's over there, but I'll just try to do my best to maintain a visual of him until we get that isolated.
We are at 6 and we can see him directly in front of us.
Are the neighbors aware?
No, but like, what is his plan when the police get there? Like what is? Just gonna shoot them and kill them, or like, like I don't know.
To stay down.
Yeah, we'll know.
Just in case. But yeah, I don't think he's made aware of our presence yet. Item 13, David, any update on drone?
You want to pull up the DFR feed? You confirm the suspect's wearing a green shirt.
A4, he's a green shirt in the backyard between 40th and 41st. I have visual from him from the 909's house. He is looking over a fence facing the south side of the objective house.
Hey,
Can
come
you
to the
do a cal photo and email it to me? I can't look at my phone right now. And I'll give you confirmation if that's him or not.
Hey, Stocky, Fox is emailing you one now.
Copy. Dispatch is an update. He's still looking on the south side of the objective backyard. He's looking over the fence. He's still isolated. It seems like he's waving his hands or talking to someone. I don't know if he's talking to himself, but he's still isolated. So I got an email.
Hey, 5 Robert 8, yeah, he's looking at the drone and he's got the gun in his right hand.
Gas and bloating are really common symptoms. So common, we kind of put them in the normal category.
Donald, do you have good eyes on him?
35 minutes. Does he still not know that the cops are there? What is his plan?
Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
Yeah.
Drop the gun! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Subject's not cooperating.
Get on the ground! He's on the ground! He's on the ground!
Subject's on the ground. Arresting's moving in.
Get on the ground now! Police! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Hands in the air!
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Do not reach for the gun! Lay flat on your stomach!
Do not move!
Stay on your back! Stay on your back!
Do not move!
Holy shit.
My arm is like look, whoa, dude. Relax. Dude, no, they're like, you're gonna cough me, bro. Ah, my arm is bleeding out, dude. I swear to God.
I didn't need to
Please, God, dude. Seriously.
This guy's acting like he did fucking nothing wrong. Like, no, that actually, like, he's acting like he did nothing wrong, and he's fucking pointing a Glock at two fucking 4-year-olds. Like, probably the other one is younger too. Like, it's ridiculous.
Swear to fucking God.
Give me a target. Give me a target.
I'm gonna die. Okay, thank you.
You're not gonna die.
Yeah, I'm going to die. Help me, please. Help me.
We're helping you.
We are helping you. Tourniquet. Okay, good. Yeah.
He sounds like he's losing a lot of blood.
Dude, my arm is like off like entire time. Please help. Yep.
Guns over here.
Somebody stay with the gun. I got it. Dude, it's fine, dude. Like, okay. By the way, it's actually fine. The guys in the other house over there, they are like they are bad.
No, he sounds like he's using a lot of
Oh
blood.
my god, stop,
The suspect, later identified as Dmitry Hochstadter, was taken to an area hospital and treated for a gunshot wound to his right arm. He was then taken to jail and, according to court documents, charged with felony counts of assault with a firearm, brandishing a firearm in the presence of a peace officer, negligent discharge of a firearm, attempted vandalism, and 2 counts of child endangerment. He was also charged with a misdemeanor count of brandishing a firearm in a threatening manner. Hochstadter was released on probation and fitted with electronic monitoring while his case proceeds. According to local reporting, at his arraignment on April 11, 2025, 2 of the charges were dropped: negligent discharge of a firearm and vandalism. In regards to alleged damage to the police drone, he was released on the condition that he wear an alcohol monitor and have bi-weekly check-ins with a case manager.
Was he drunk?
At the time of his arrest, Hochstadter had a 0.31% blood alcohol content. Also, according to local reporting, police asserted in their testimony that Dmitry fired the first shot, prompting the officers to fire 4 return shots. However, no casing from Dmitry's gun was recovered from the scene, and police did not swab his hand for gunpowder residue because of the emergency medical situation that unfolded. Though officers did not give verbal warning before firing, San Francisco Police Department's use of force policy does not require a suspect to shoot before officers can use force, only if those officers believe that they or anyone else present is in immediate danger of death or serious bodily injury. This is Dmitry's first offense on record. He is innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law.
I can only imagine what it must have felt like for these people to see cops crouching down, pointing rifles at someone.
Shit. Alright. Next fucking video. Next video. Fern. How a hacker saved the internet.
Andres is running some routine software tests. At first, everything looks pretty normal. But then, he spots something. This peak here is not a typical CPU load. Not a huge problem, but it's annoying. Plus, he can't make sense of it right away. Little does Andres know that this is not just some random bug. It's a cleverly hidden backdoor, one that's been planted over years by hostile forces, possibly state-sponsored hackers. Now it's set to spread globally and give the perpetrators access to millions of servers around the world. To the systems of hospitals, companies, and entire governments. A master key to the internet and everything connected to it, right in the hands of criminals. Andres doesn't know about any of this yet, but he's about to literally save the internet. To understand this story, we first need to take a little detour into software engineering and a very particular little piece of code. A lot of software out there is company-owned, like Word, which belongs to Microsoft. Only Microsoft employees can tweak and further develop that software. But then there's software that is open source. It works kind of like Wikipedia. The source code is out in the open for anyone to see and use. Basically, anyone can contribute and suggest changes. That has led to the creation of many programs that are fundamental to our digital infrastructure. While anyone can pitch in on open source projects, there are usually a few people in charge.
Alright, I just want to mention, I'm not going to comment this much on this video, because I don't know much about computers that much, so yeah, I just want to mention that.
These so-called maintainers have the final say on the code and review any changes before they get implemented. Lasse Collin is one of these maintainers. He has been working for years on the Linux tool xzutils. Linux is the most widely used open source operating system in the world. You may not be running Linux directly on your own computer, but it powers most of the world's servers, mainframes, and every single one of the top 500 supercomputers. XZ is a data compression format included in pretty much all major Linux distributions. A Linux distribution is like a full package of all the essential programs your computer needs to run. Different distros are designed for different purposes. xzutils compresses and packages data so it can be transferred and stored faster. It's kind of like zip files. Colin developed the tool back in 2005. As its maintainer, he has been in charge of all changes to xzutils ever since. He reviews suggested edits and then approves them, or not. Once the approved changes are in place, a new version of xzutils can be included in Linux distros. But lately that process has hit a bit of a snag. 2 volunteer developers are not happy with how Colin has been handling his maintenance duties. They feel like he's way too slow in responding to change requests and messages. Dennis Enns is clearly frustrated when he asks for updates.
I asked a question here a week ago and have not heard back.
Jigar Kumar also seems fed up with how slow things are moving.
With your current rate, I very doubt to see 5 or...
Alright, hold on. Shout out Jackson Morgan. Just by the way.
0.0 release this year. The only progress since April has been small changes to test code.
He even suggests that they might need a new maintainer.
Dennis, you are better off waiting until a new maintainer happens or fork yourself. Submitting patches here has no purpose these days. The current maintainer lost interest or doesn't care to maintain anymore.
Lasse Colin appears to be struggling with the workload. After all, his work on xzutils is just an unpaid hobby. But Enns and Kumar clearly want someone who can dedicate more time to the project and respond faster to their suggestions. In response to Kumar's message, Colin writes,
I haven't lost interest, but my ability to care has been fairly limited. Mostly due to long-term mental health issues, but also due to some other things.
He also says,
recently, I've worked off-list a bit with Jia Tan on xzutils, and perhaps she will have a bigger role in the future. We'll see.
Jia Tan first pops up on the developer platform GitHub in January 2021. For over a year, she contributes to other projects. Then, in 2022, she starts submitting changes for xzutils. From that point on, she becomes a regular contributor. Tan is dedicated and polite. She writes friendly messages and helps out wherever she can.
Nice job to both of you for getting this feature as far as it is already. Let me know your thoughts on these patches when you have a chance. Is it good enough or did I add bad bugs? Just trying to do my part as a helper elf.
Maybe after getting all those annoyed messages from Enns and Kumar, Colin is just relieved to finally have some help. Someone to lighten the load and actively push the project.
I'd be suspicious if someone online was like being that too friendly to me. Low-key.
At one point, Colin explains that a maintainer needs the skills, time and interest to really stay committed to the software. And Jia Tan seems to check all those boxes. Back then, Colin doesn't realize that something is seriously off about her. This video, hopefully, offers a glance into the fascinating world of programming. If you're getting inspired by this story, why not learn more about the subject? Enter Brilliant, control of the project over the course of the year. She starts editing xzutils on her own, and in March 2023, she changes the contact mail at OSFAS, a service that helps identify bugs in open source projects. From now on, security alerts are no longer sent to Colin, but exclusively to Tan. Shortly after, a new user named Hans Janssen submits a change request for xz, and Tan approves it. 9 months later, March 2024, Janssen sends a message to the Debian project. Debian is a widespread Linux-based operating system known to be stable and secure. Janssen wants the Debian team to include a new version of xzutils in an upcoming Debian version, saying it will fix a specific bug. 2 other users chime in to praise the fix, Grigorin and Miso Eater. And when another user raises concerns, Grigorin is clearly annoyed and quickly shuts them down.
Instead of having a policy debate over who is proper to do this upload, can this just be fixed?
Shortly after, the Debian project integrates the new version of xzutils into a preliminary version of their operating system called SID. Around the same time, Andres Freund is working as a developer at Microsoft. He has also been actively contributing to an open source project. He has just downloaded the latest version of SID to run some tests for his project. SID is not for public release and marked as unstable and insecure. Developers can test it for bugs before new features get officially integrated. And during his tests, Andres notices something strange. Something is taking up way too many resources in SSH. SSH is used to remote access Linux machines. Why is SSH draining such a crazy amount of CPU? Something is off. He also notices a considerable drop in performance, a lag of 500 milliseconds. That's half a second. Something nobody else would ever notice, but Andres does. So he takes a closer look at SSH and realizes that the delay is related to executils. On many Linux distributions, SSH has a dependency on executils. That means that certain exec functions are invoked when SSH is executed. Andres digs deeper into executils and discovers that someone has slipped in a malicious piece of code. And this code allows that someone to sneak into the system via SSH. It's a backdoor. This backdoor is so well hidden that no one caught it while reviewing and testing the code. A phenomenal, scary attack. But this disguise is slowing the malicious code down. And it's that exact delay that Andres Freund has noticed when starting SSH. On March 27, he sends an email to inform the Debian security team about his findings. 2 days later, he goes public. He publishes a post on Mastodon. The malicious code is hidden in 2 versions of executils, and Andres also has a hunch as to who might have planted it. Jia Tan. She had secretly added the backdoor to a version of executils just before Andres found it. When Andres makes his findings public, all hell breaks loose.
Did one guy just stop a huge cyber attack? This may be one of the biggest stories of this year.
Curiosity may have saved us from a devastating cyber attack.
The US Cyber Defense Agency issues an emergency security alert. Luckily, the tampered software hasn't spread far yet, but it has already infiltrated test versions of several major Linux distros, meaning it was just on the verge of massive deployment. An army of developers and cybersecurity experts jump into action. Within just a few hours, they build a fix to neutralize the backdoor. Had it actually made its way into the code of multiple operating systems, the consequences could have been catastrophic. The attackers could have gained unauthorized remote access to countless systems. It would have been the master key to hundreds of millions of computers and servers around the world. Linux operating systems are used in schools, universities, and hospitals. The White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate all use Linux. In one fell swoop, the attackers could have taken down critical services across the globe. They could have spread malware or stolen sensitive information. There's no other way to put it. The world dodged a major bullet, thanks to Andres Freund, the silverback gorilla of nerds, the internet's final boss. The Microsoft developer is praised like a hero, and naturally his story becomes a meme. Even Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella gives him a shout-out for his efforts. Everyone is relieved, disaster has been averted, the shock is wearing off. But the real question remains. Who did this? Who is really behind Jia Tan? Andres Freund doesn't believe this was the work of just one person. He suspects Jia Tan had backup. These users are suspected of being involved. It looks like Enz and Kumar deliberately put pressure on Lasse Collin to clear the way for Jia Tan. Then Janssen, Grigorin, and Mizuita pushed the update through. This whole attack was a masterclass in social engineering. That's when attackers manipulate people into doing something they shouldn't, like making you accidentally give up a password or holding a high-security door for someone who appears to be pregnant. The alleged group behind Jia Tan was insanely clever. Infiltrating executils took not only technical skill, but a ton of patience.
Damn,
Remember, Jia Tan spent an...
It's like, you have to be so fucking smart to do that. That's crazy. Because, like, I don't know how to code at all. I don't know how to hack or anything like that. Like, that's fucking insane.
entire year building trust by contributing to other projects before even suggesting changes for executils. Then
right after
another
COVID
2 years passed before she slipped in the back door. Experts think this was likely the
So she
work of
started next
state-sponsored
COVID
hackers.
and ended around
But
a year
what
ago.
state would that be? There's no trace of Jia Tan online. At first glance, Jia Chong Tan seems Chinese. The timing of the posts lines up with the UTC +8 time zone. But that might just be a smokescreen to hide the hacker's true identity and location. Would someone who spends years crafting such an intricate plan, building trust and slowly gaining control, really leave such obvious breadcrumbs? Faking time zones isn't hard. What if the people behind Jia Tan simply changed the time zone on their computer to UTC +8 before each contribution? At least that's what an analysis of her account suggests. The same analysis shows that Jia Tan has worked through major Chinese holidays. That's weird. And it's even weirder that the account was silent on Christmas and New Year's, which are just regular business days in China. Plus, if Jia really lived in the UTC +8 time zone, she would have always been working through the night. The analysis suggests that Jia Tan might actually reside in Eastern Europe. There seem to be a couple of incidents where they forgot to forge the time zone. There were 3 commits made in UTC +2 and 6 in UTC +3. Now, if we assume Jia Tan lives in one of those time zones, she would have typically started working at 9 AM and clocked out by 5 PM. Sounds like a regular job. Experts believe Jia Tan's trail might actually lead to Russia. More specifically to APT-29, also known as Cozy Bear. This state-sponsored hacker group is famous for their sophisticated attacks. The style of the XAT-Utils hack would fit right in with their usual playbook, but so far there's no solid proof. Open source obviously has its advantages, but if this case proves anything, it's how vulnerable our digital infrastructure can be. We came way too close to a major meltdown. A lot of our critical infrastructure today relies on open source software, on programs that are often maintained solely by the passion and commitment of volunteers, by people who do this on the side as a hobby. People like Lasse Collin who may get overwhelmed by the sheer scale of their projects. If we want our digital systems to be secure, we need to build the right structures as a society and support the open source community. The XAT-Utils attack was insanely sophisticated, and we have to assume there are more of those to come. We can only hope that, when the time comes, the world will have another hero like Andres Freund ready to step up.
W fucking video, Fern. Shout out Fern. Fern's a great YouTuber. Oh. Alright. Sunny V2. The downfall of Fortnite Battle Royale.
First impression of the game. It's fun.
Well, let's go. Pleasant Park spawn. Let's get it.
This looks like a knockoff of Battlegrounds. Alex, so much fun though.
Where they at? Where they at? Where they at?
Where that face coming off?
Oh! Oh, I feel the rhythm. Let's go! 27 solos. Woo!
34 solo squad. Not bad.
31. New record.
I realised that I could probably go to a pro level.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are getting ready to start game number 1.
Here at the Fortnite Pro-Am, him and Marshmallow come out on top. Let's go! Give me that, boy! Oh, baby!
This man about to get hip fired. It needs a nerf. That's for sure.
Eventually, this is not even a game anymore. Like, it's just, because there's no decision making. It's literally, you see someone, you just hold left click.
I have to do long division to figure out how many SMGs there are now in Fortnite.
The game is in such a bad spot right now. You have to be trolling, dude. I don't understand. What are they thinking?
Increase the time between subsequent turbo build placements from 0.05 seconds to 0.15? What? Why would they do that? No way.
And you hear that Infinity Blade as well. Knees. He's still alive. Breaking through everything. Number 9, number 10 for Knees with the Infinity Blade.
Sing, 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 sing.
He only has to connect one time. Here it is. That is
gosh! Frustrating.
There's planes.
Wait, for real?
2, 4, 6, 8, close to 10 vehicles in the air at the moment.
I hate planes so much, man. So much, dude.
Season 10 was the worst season of Fortnite yet.
It's never been as bad as it's been right now. The pro players are upset. The content creators are upset. What's going on, man? I feel like there's no communication right now.
When Fortnite Battle Royale was released back on the 26th of September 2017, the potential outcome for what had been created was completely unspecified.
Alright, here we go. I want Timmy dead!
A new free game in the Battle Royale genre? I mean, come on, there was already PUBG and this new Fortnite game was completely free for anyone to download. How good could it possibly be? Well, some of these aspects that were considered negatives in the beginning would go on to make the game one of the most successful games ever released into gaming.
Oh, I'm not even, no! 20, baby! Let's go!
However, things started to go wrong around late Season 4.
So irritated, man. I can't wait for freaking Call of Duty to come out, man.
Awful updates and mass complaints from the community began to roll in. Playground mode completely flattened the skill gap. SMGs began to overtake the beloved shotgun meta that made the game so fun in the first place.
What?
Infinity Blades, planes, mechs, and a bunch of brainless updates has caused the game to slowly lose popularity since its peak in July 2000.
Yeah, no, I feel like when Fortnite adds like these OP, like fucking, like the mechs, the tanks, planes. Last season there was the I believe they're Star Destroyers or TIE Fighters. But like when they add that, it like ruins the game because once you get that, you can almost, if you actually are smart, you can actually just win the game just right there. Because they're so overpowered. Yes, you can just shoot them out of the air, but still, like, it's just, it makes the game so unbalanced, and like people that actually have skill at the game will lose because of either a stupid SMG or lucky sniper shot or a fucking tank or a mech. Like, it just, yeah, it makes a skill gap like that instead of like that. But like, it doesn't make sense to do that because the good people should be with the good people. Like, it's just like when you're playing just regular Fortnite, there should be like a ranking system, but not show your rank. Like you get what I mean, chat? Like there should be, like, you should be playing people your skill level in your ranked games. And if you really are truly better than them, you should be winning every single game. And when you win every single game, you'll go up to higher levels, and yeah, it should be even.
2018. But was it just the bad updates? Or was it the fact that people just lost interest in the game over time?
This same old shit is just boring.
Buckle up, boys, as we cover the rise and fall of Fortnite Battle Royale. I want you to cast your mind back to mid-2017. Where were you? For some of you, it might feel like a long time ago in a place far from where you are now, and for some others listening, it might feel like just yesterday. Well, for a team of developers at the relatively unknown Epic Games, mid-2017 is what we might call the calm before the storm. Because on the 25th of July 2017, a project that had been in development for over 6 years was ready to be released to the general public. This special project was the now popular Fortnite.
Hurry up out there, Ramirez!
Epic Games explained in 2011 that they wanted to create a game that combined the construction game genre with the first-person shooter gaming genre to create something that might be a mix of maybe Minecraft and Call of Duty. Epic Games had recently completed the extremely popular game Gears of War, and to let themselves down from the hype, they participated in what was called a game jam. an event where game developers would try and create the best possible game within a limited period of time, say for example 1 to 3 days. It was in this game jam after the release of Gears of War that the idea of Fortnite was born.
And then the discussions around what happened at Game Jam is actually kind of what led to Fortnite. And Fortnite wasn't a direct result, it wasn't one of the games in the Game Jam, but that process was kind of the fuel that caused that to become created.
The game was then announced in December 2011 at the Spike Game Awards.
Showtime! All right, clear!
Then 2.5 years after the announcement in early 2014, signs began to appear here and there that the game was nearing completion. Game Informer uploaded the video inside the development history of Fortnite on the 25th of April 2014. In this video, the developers explained what they had been working on and how it was coming along.
It's a game that spawned directly from passion. This is just something that people wanted to build. We were just coming off of Gears, and we wanted to do something totally fresh.
There was also other videos being uploaded to YouTube displaying the mechanics and giving an insight into how the game was looking back in 2014. However, despite looking like Fortnite was ready to be released in 2014, the game wouldn't be ready for another 3 years. But after polishing the gameplay consistently over those 3 years, the game was ready to be released, which was announced at E3 in June 2017.
We're going to start with one called Fortnite. Now, I don't know much about a lot of these, so I think the best way to do it is just jump in.
Fortnite Save the World was then released on the 25th of July 2017, which was 1 month after the initial announcement. Fortnite Save the World was set up as a single-player versus environment game, a combination that Epic believed to be a resemblance of Minecraft and Left 4 Dead. The Save the World part of Fortnite was at 1 million players only 1 month after release in August 2017. However, there was a bit of a problem with Save the World. There needed to be more of a PvP aspect to the game. Sure, versing monsters all the time was kind of fun, but the game lacked a gripping competitive aspect. One game that did have an excellent third-person competitive aspect, however, was the game PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, released 1 year previously in July 2016. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds had utilised a recently new style of gameplay called Battle Royale, a style that was relatively unused by many other games at the time.
You died, didn't give a go and just keep going again, right? And again, and just it's all about the PvP. So
the concept was fairly simple. 100 players drop into an island, find weapons, and the last player alive is the winner. The gameplay style was extraordinarily competitive and fun, but wasn't used by many games besides PUBG, H1Z1 and some other smaller titles at the time. Epic Games noticed this and spotted a gap in the market, and this is where things just seemed to kind of align for Fortnite. They had a game where you could shoot like Call of Duty and build like Minecraft, as well as an opportunity to integrate their game into the Battle Royale genre. However, Epic Games didn't only draw inspiration from the success of PUBG, they also drew inspiration from the success of another huge game at the time, League of Legends. League of Legends had taken a slightly different route to monetize their game, which Fortnite eventually adopted. Rather than just charging a fee up front to play the game forever, they actually gave the game out for free, with monetization coming from cosmetic in-game purchases. This also kept the player base strong as there was no barrier to downloading the game if you were a new player, which obviously Epic Games liked. Epic Games then took all of these aspects, the free game, the building, the shooting, the battle royale, to create the now popular Fortnite Battle Royale, which was released to the public for free on the 26th of September 2017. Fortnite Battle Royale was an instant success. The fact that the game was free to play removed any hesitance for a potential player to at least try it out. Only 2 weeks after release, the game had hit 10 million players, 10 times what Save the World was able to achieve in its first month. The fact that everyone was on a similar skill level at the start meant everyone had an equal chance of winning, and the possibility that the next game could be your first victory royale.
This is awesome!
This competitive aspect caused players to play over and over and over to try and get at least one win. And by the time you did win, it was over, you were hooked. The addictive nature of the game was incomparable to any other game available on the market. Many huge streamers then began catching on to how fun the game was, with people such as Ninja.
Oh, wait, what's up? Oh, hello!
Summit.
Kind of chilling for now. Right below. Nice.
And CDN the Third, switching their primary streaming focus to Fortnite.
Yes! Let's go! Let's go!
50 kills.
Then these streamers began to experiment with crazy ideas on stream, such as rocket riding, which were clipped and shared extensively on social media, bolstering the growth of Fortnite even further.
Oh! A third spawn!
Players got bored of playing solos and began to invite their friends to play squads, multiplying the player count and causing extreme exponential growth. It was likely around this point that Epic Games realized that perhaps rather than using the Battle Royale genre to get people to buy Save the World, they should just double down on Battle Royale and make it the primary development focus. On the 25th of October 2017, exactly 1 month after the release of Battle Royale, Epic Games introduced Fortnite Season 1. Season 1 wasn't much different to the previous month. However, Epic Games introduced what was called the Item and Season Shop, where players could purchase cosmetic items and pickaxes for real money. The first example of Epic Games monetizing the Battle Royale aspect of the game. These skins would later become rare, which is insignificant now but will be important in later parts of the downfall. By the end of Season 1 in December 2017, only 3 months after the initial release of the game, Fortnite had reached 30 million registered users and had overtaken PUBG as the most streamed Battle Royale on Twitch, and it only had League of Legends standing in the way of the top spot. However, by Season 2 in January 2018, only 1 month later, Fortnite overtook League of Legends to become the most popular game on Twitch. And by this point, people had really started to take advantage of the build mechanic as a proper strategy for staying alive, and realised that this mechanic distinguished it from any other Battle Royale. The building mechanic took the game from a mediocre third-person shooter in Season 1 to a game with a genius way of protecting yourself.
When you're in the fight, and you're able to do something on the mouse or keyboard that could alter that fight, that could change that fight based on your ability or skill or knowledge, that's what you want, right? You want this mouse and keyboard to be your Lamborghini right here, man, a stick-shift Lamborghini.
On top of this, the game just had pace like no other.
Number one, optimized. And that is why its popularity is just like
I should try it.
Yeah, you'll love it.
It was just non-stop action and players literally could not get enough. After overtaking League of Legends on Twitch in January 2018, Fortnite then overtook PUBG in terms of active player count in February 2018, only 1 month later. And it's not like the Twitch records stopped there, because 1 month later in March 2018, an event would take place that would break the record for the most viewers in a single stream on Twitch. Ninja playing with Drake, 636,000 concurrent viewers.
I got 5K donation if you get this dub right now.
Yeah? Playing Fortnite had officially become mainstream, just in case it wasn't already before.
That literal one match with Drake made it okay for everyone to play video games.
So much so that Fortnite hosted its first major public event only 3 months later in June 2018, the Fortnite Celebrity Pro-Am.
Kinstar on him. Ninja, can he clutch it out? Ninja! Kinstar gets the win.
What a
play! Wow.
Famous music artists, UFC fighters, sports stars, and Fortnite players all playing for $3 million in charity prize money. After the event had displayed the capabilities of what could be possible in the esports world, it didn't seem like anything could possibly go wrong for Fortnite. They had the gaming world in their hands. What could possibly bring such a behemoth of a game undone?
They added a bunch of fucking random shit and it ruined the fucking game.
Well, on the 27th of June 2018, only 2 weeks after the Celebrity Pro-Am event, Epic Games released a new game mode into Fortnite Battle Royale called Playground Mode.
Oh my god, look at that, mate! Playground sandbox mode!
Playground Mode offered a sandbox style of gameplay, giving every player the opportunity to practice their building with unlimited material and no limitations from other players. Now, while the community loved this newly implemented game mode, it began to do strange things to the skill level of the player base. Everyone started to get extremely skilled in a very short period of time. It seemed as though after Playground was released, the skill level that was achieved in 6 months previously could be achieved in only 2 weeks by simply practicing in Playground mode. After Playground was released, all of the newbies just kind of disappeared and everyone's skill level increased dramatically. It was difficult for new players to get a grip on the game because the beginner skill level was diminished following the release of Playground. It's likely that Epic released the game mode attempting to give those new players a leg up with a practicing platform, but it just seemed to get abused by high-level players who just wanted to get even better. Now, it's hard to actually quantify whether or not players left the game following the update, especially considering it was an ongoing game mode. But I think we can all agree, if you can reach almost peak skill level in 2 weeks instead of 6 months, and everyone on the game is now extremely skilled putting up a barrier for new players, it's going to affect the health of the game in a negative way over the long term.
Yeah, no, being able to practice actually like ruined the game.
So what was it that followed this? Epic Games began to notice the increased skill level of the general player. By the time Season 5 rolled around, just after the Playground mode update, everyone was extremely skilled at building all of a sudden.
Oh no, not the Tifu Classic!
The skill level of the players in Season 4 compared to Season 5 was almost incomparable. Epic saw this as an issue because how is a potential new player going to win a game versus 100 other experienced players when they have no experience themselves?
What? He betrayed me, bro.
They had to change something to give newer players a shot, but instead of removing Playground, the game mode that made everyone extremely experienced in the first place, they started to mess with one of the main things that made the game so fun in the first place, the shotgun meta. The most effective close-quarter weapon at the time was the range of shotguns, with submachine guns in the background as a secondary. Epic Games hatched a plan to increase the strength of the submachine gun range in the hope that newbies could just shoot through builds instead of learning how to build themselves. With the macro goal of competing with the shotgun meta at the time. However, they made two main mistakes with the implementation. Firstly, they made the submachine guns way too strong.
Like, this thing is actually dumb. It's actually dumb. The silenced SMG is literally the best weapon in the game right now.
And secondly, they made the main aspect of the game, building, completely redundant in the process, given that the new submachine guns could completely rip through enemy builds with 0 skill level.
I got you guys, don't worry.
Epic introduced a new submachine gun in the first update of Season 5 on the 17th of July 2018. However, Epic Games didn't really feel as though it did what they desired, so they added the P90 only 1 week later on the 25th of July. And this weapon was absolute carnage.
Excuse me. Dude, the fucking... What's a whole fucking loadout of P90? Dude, that's ridiculous.
Not broken, by the way.
The beginning of Season 5 also saw the removal of the controversial double shotgun strategy, another update designed to reduce the strength of the shotgun meta.
After firing a shotgun, another shot cannot be fired for a very short time. So you can't double pump.
Oh, they're getting rid of double shotgun. Or just double shotgun. Double shotgun, period.
No double shotty in general. They're switching the meta to the double shotgun SMG. They're switching the meta.
It was at this point that everyone kind of started to realize what Epic was trying to do with the meta. It only took about 2 seconds of critical thinking to realize that they were trying to give new players the edge. But they made the new submachine gun so strong that people just stopped playing for a day or two until they fixed it. The almost laughable part about the update was that the people who the gun was put in for, the newbies, were complaining about the P90 in the same way that the pros were. After the update, it seemed to become trendy to start hating Epic and complaining about Fortnite. Over a 1 month period between Season 4 and Season 5, everyone went from thinking it was the greatest game ever created to a game doomed and destined for failure. Looking back, perhaps a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then various videos started to come out with titles along the lines of, "Is Fortnite dying?"
We're on the cusp of something great, and I'm not really sure if it lasts the next season, you know?
If we look at the Google Trends graph for Fortnite, the weekend where P90s were released into the game was when it was at peak popularity, with a slow decline following. And as we can observe from the graph, the P90 update was really only the beginning of the decline.
Hold on. That big spike right here, I'm guessing that's probably from Fortnite OG, because that looks like it's 2023 or so. Fortnite Season 2 is actually like the best thing that actually happened because it revived the game and gave him a new chance to
Fortnite Season 6. The previously discussed SMG problem that was seeing many players leave the game had been fixed to some extent with various nerfs.
Are they still worth like using and doubling up and all that? They're fine at very, very close range, but they're not like stupidly broken at far range anymore, you know?
However, shotguns still hadn't been returned to their former glory, and Season 6 brought its own set of problems. The popularity of Fortnite peaked upon the introduction of Season 6, however died down to the lowest point that Fortnite had been at by the end of the season. The introduction of zombies was just found to be a nuisance, with seemingly very few people advocating to keep the mechanic in the game.
Dude, these zombies, go away. You're making this so much more harder than it needs to be.
However, there was something else that occurred in this season which was another intangible phenomena that made many people lose a bit more respect for Epic Games. During Halloween 2018 in Season 6, Epic decided to re-release the Scythe Pickaxe and the Skull Trooper skin, two cosmetic items that were available only to the original Season 1 players.
Wait, the OG one's in the one's in the shop too. Oh my god, it's back. They put the OG in. Oh my god.
And while everyone seemed kind of happy to have the opportunity to purchase these skins, there was also an underlying sadness that Epic had sold out a little bit on their original player base. It kind of made buying skins less exciting, since everyone knew that there was now a possibility that no skin could be rare in the future, because Epic Games kind of showed that they would sell out on the rareness of a skin if it meant a slight uptick in short-term revenue. And since buying skins was less fun, this just translated into the game being a little less fun. However, the reintroduction of rare skins was nothing compared to what Epic would do to ruin the game in a following update.
It looks like he's kind of committed to the Infinity Blade
There
here.
he is.
And he's going to be the first to pick it up. He has to build this time around because he knows the player there. He's going straight for the dive.
And you hear that Infinity Blade as well. Nice.
He's still alive, breaking through everything.
That's number 9, number 10 for Nice with the Infinity Blade.
He is just
Fucking
chopping through
Infinity
everything.
Blade is so bad.
400 freaking HP.
Yes,
The Infinity Blade, speculatively agreed upon to be the worst and most game-changing update ever released into Fortnite.
Now, if you're still doubting the power of the Infinity Blade, look what happens when you dive into Tilted Towers. This thing will literally smash through any structure in its way, meaning you can pretty much level that entire city in a matter of seconds. It is absolutely disgusting.
A weapon that completely threw all of the rules out the window, altering not only gameplay but professional tournaments as well.
If he gets the victory royale, that'd be
he
nice.
sees blood. Here it is.
Player's gonna be right in
That's
front
one.
of him, and he...
All three land here. Here comes the hop over. That's the elimination on Coop Train.
Then throw another controversial plane update in the mix and you have yourself a potential recipe for disaster.
I hate planes so much, man. So much, dude.
Well, I say
the planes weren't too bad, but like I feel like there was just too many on the map. If you had like one or two, then that's fine. But like there was like at one point there was like 20 planes in the map, which was ridiculous.
Recipe for disaster, but the data might prove otherwise. It seems as though Fortnite actually had very little drop in Google search volume throughout Season 7, actually peaking in many places. However, I'd say that this was due to a mass number of people Googling the potential removal of the Infinity Blade and planes. When everything is going fine in the game, there's not really much reason to search for Fortnite on Google. These updates seem to provide mass traffic for the game throughout Season 7, however, it's questionable if this was healthy for the longevity of the game, given that in Season 8, search volume for Fortnite dropped extremely heavily after a small peak during the introduction of the season. Then the same story with Season 9, a small peak in popularity at the beginning of the season followed by another drop to the lowest point in the game's history. The beginning of Season 10 then returned the popularity of the game back to where it was in Season 8. The season was marketed as Season X, which added a little bit of excitement for what was to come in the season. However, as you might guess, the season itself came with its own set of challenges. It seems as though Epic didn't really get the message that players didn't enjoy ridiculously overpowered and unbalanced meta within Fortnite, because Season X began with a new update that some might argue was the most unbalanced update to come into the game since the Infinity Blade.
Oh, God!
Mechs appeared to be another one of those updates added purely to spark outrage from the community and flatten the skill gap, giving the lower skilled players a chance to win.
What's up, boys? That's why I'm the driver, bro. Go on, take him out.
However, all mechs seemed to do was create a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots. If you had a mech, you were unstoppable. If not, you would have a hard time beating someone who did have a mech. Following this, many people started saying that Season X was the worst season yet.
Season 10 was the worst season of Fortnite yet.
This was then backed up by the fact that 2 weeks after the beginning of the season, Fortnite once again hit a new low on Google Trends. But Epic Games wasn't stupid. They could see that the game was dying. There was only so many seasons they could produce before people realized, holy crap, I've been playing this game for 11 seasons, maybe it's time to find something new. They could see that every season more players were leaving, so they needed to refresh and revitalize the game. On the 13th of October 2019, at the end of Season X, an event took place where the Fortnite map was sucked into a black hole, an extraordinary way to end what was considered a bit of an awful season. But when the next season was supposed to start, nothing happened. Just this screen for 2 days straight. No one could play Fortnite, which caused the Fortnite search volume to skyrocket to a level never seen before. Because I guess if you're not playing Fortnite, you're probably Googling Fortnite, right? Then, after 2 days of silence, which was likely a publicity stunt to get everyone hyped and talking about the game again, Fortnite Chapter 2 was released. A full new map, new guns, vaulted guns, swimming, fishing. Could this be the return of Fortnite to its former glory? Well, as seen on the trend graph, not really. 2 weeks after the release of the season, the popularity was back down to where it was in Season 10, with many people saying that Chapter 2 update was a bit of a letdown, mainly focusing the complaints around the fact that the season was 4 months long with very few updates and new pieces of content.
Chapter 2 alone will almost be 2 seasons long, and all we have to show for it are a couple of new weapons. That's why I gotta ask, what have the developers been doing for this long?
By the end of Chapter 2, Season 1, the game had hit yet another low. A low that hadn't been lower than any other season. However, after the release of Chapter 2 Season 2, something bizarre happened. The popularity of Fortnite began to rise again. Instead of following the trend of the previous year, being a spike then a drop in popularity, it was a spike, then a drop, then a gradual rise to a new high that hadn't been seen in about a year. What could Epic possibly be doing that they weren't doing previously? Well, it's hard to say, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it might be related to the quantity of people at home currently rather than school or work. And since there's minimal data to discover the accuracy of this statement, it's hard to draw an accurate conclusion. However, since hitting another peak upon the release of Chapter 2 Season 3, the game seems to be on another downward trend, a trend that may certainly continue into the future. So it creates the closing argument for the video. What caused the gradual decline of Fortnite over time? Well, from everything presented and by analysing the opinion of the public, it seems to be a mix of questionable updates and just a loss of interest over time. Sure, it's easy to blame the bad updates, but at the end of the day, there's only so long that someone can play a game before it begins to become recurring and monotonous. It's coming up on 3 years since the game was released, and to think that the people interested back in 2017 are the same people interested now is possibly enough.
Alright, this is gonna be a super hot take. I don't remember what the season was called, but the season with all the chromatic stuff in Fortnite, all the chrome weapons and different stuff, that was honestly one of my favorite Fortnite seasons. Like, I don't know why, I just enjoyed it so much. It might have been because that was my peak time playing it and like enjoying it so much, or just if it was like the different weapons and like the twist to like the chrome and stuff. But like that season was like one of my favorite seasons out of all of them.
Naive judgment. Not that you really care about my opinion, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. And it might be controversial, but I think one of the main perpetrators was Playground in creative mode. I think that it would have made the game significantly more enjoyable to just trust the natural progression of people learning each aspect within the game while versing others in real time. The reason those first 6 to 12 months were so fun was because everyone kind of sucked, and it felt as though everyone was bad and getting better on an equal level. Suddenly when Playground was introduced in Season 5 hit, there just wasn't as much reason to play public matches because you could learn everything by playing privately. And then when you did go to public games, everyone suddenly knew what they were doing. The natural progression felt off and made the game instantly less enjoyable. Regardless, the game has provided people with so much entertainment and good times up until this point, so despite having a decline in popularity, it still appears to be an excellent game to jump into. And it's free to play, so as we said at the start, why not give it a shot?
W fucking video. Chat, I think that's where I'm gonna end stream today. Hour stream, not bad. I will see you guys later. Bye, chat.